Welcome to the Outside the Business Boxes podcast, where we're talking about how to ignite your business today for the future using systems for everything you do in your business to make your life, your employees' lives, and your customers' lives easier for you to ultimately enjoy your business and, of course, make more money. I'm your host, Chad Murray.
Thank you for listening to Outside the Business Box podcast. I am Chad Murray, your host today, and I wanted to come to you on a 4th of July week. It is a week that I generally skip the podcast. I've had a few weeks lately, or just a couple weeks, I think I skipped the podcast. So I just thought I'd get out here and give you some insights and thoughts, just some what I would call PMA, positive mental attitude. I learned this phrase back there's some parts of my life that I don't talk about a lot, and it's nothing that they're bad or nothing, just kind of forgotten to my mind. But after there was a time in my life that I don't talk about much in my 20s. It's not like a bad time or anything. It's kind of irrelevant to my story most of the time. And so I, in between when I was a restaurant manager and I went in the Marine Corps, I sold combined insurance. It is like an Aflac product. At the time it was because there wasn't the internet out yet, or it was so, it was for Dungeons and Dragons people back then. It really wasn't anything for the people, your normal person. It certainly wasn't a bunch of home computers at the early 90s. And so I got hired by them, and it's a door-to-door sales, and it was also a door-to-door renewal. So you get a book you get a book, what they call it, the book for the week, and you go and renew those people, and then you would literally door knock farms and people in cities and stuff. But you were supposed to stay in your little area and sell new policies and renew. So the big goal back then in the 90s was you could make $1,000 a week doing this and blah blah blah. And so. And as you know, if you're a door-to-door salesman, it's a tough life. And I actually did it for about a year. And I think I have talked about it a little bit. I actually sold more my first month than the entire office of about 15 people combined. I did really well out of the gate. And then I did really well for the early 90s and a 22-year-old kid, 21, 22-year-old kid doing it. And so but it's a burnout type of job. It's hard to, go door knock all the time and run around and paying for gas. But anyway, they sent you to Chicago to train to learn their policy. And so, which was really cool because you went to Chicago for 2 weeks and they paid for everything, which is super cool. So, I mean, they're not a chintzy company. I mean, they really do well, or at least they used to. And policy was good. It was easy to sell for me. I mean, it really was. It was not expensive. And so when you first get there, they've got, you got this big training room and there's probably like, I don't know, 20, 25 people in there to train all across the country coming in there to do it. So it wasn't, just people in Wisconsin. And so, you would learn the policy and and the whole thing about what they had was called PMA, positive mental attitude. And, this 21-year-old punk kid I was, I bought into it, it was cool. And I use it still to this day, every once in a while. But I got to tell you, that PMA, when you really start thinking about it and you combine when I just read the book of, really the best book for PMA out there, is The Power of Positive Thinking, which I mentioned in the last podcast by Norman Vincent Peale. It's so good. It just is so good. Especially, I don't bring out my Christianity a lot, but if that book brings out Christianity and Um, it literally, it talks about both, but I mean, it is so good. And I really do. It is one of my favorite books of all time now. I mean, it's right next to the E-Myth in the Bible for me. And I don't read the Bible much. I need to read it, but I don't. But I'm strong in faith, and I don't talk about it much. And so let's make this, keep this business. But I will say, my faith keeps me, and knowing as a Christian that my anxieties and my frustrations are all, most of the time, especially the anxieties, they're made up. You're over fearing, and you're over thinking, and you're letting those thoughts and those feelings take a hold of you. And so I always like that. I've mentioned in the previous podcast, in April and May, and I can't tell you what that book and then Remembering PMA has done just for me personally. I mean, it's really just changed, and it's crazy. I mean, in 1 month, my life, I'm so much more positive. I can be argumentative at times with people I love and stuff. Yeah, it's hard. And so what's actually happened to me is when somebody comes to me in a negative light, I actually have got to learn to listen and just maybe shut the hell up and just let them let it out. But I mean, the same aspect, I had a friend of mine do that over the weekend and got left upset. And I really feel sorry that the way it all went down, but I just didn't want to listen to it. I mean, I mean, especially when you have no action behind your words, and I'm an action person, and so I really sometimes you just got to realize that there is no action. Just listen and be a good friend, and I wasn't, and so I got to work on that, and blah blah blah, and so, but the positive mental attitude for your business. I mean, a lot of us, we show up, and I've talked about this before, walking in with a smile. If you haven't heard that story, my mom, one day, I used to walk in and I had bitch face every time I walked in. And I wasn't mad. No, don't get me wrong. That was just my face. I was when I walked in, I go in a deep thought about what I have to do today. And it came out looking like my face looked like I had bitch face. I was pissed off. It just looked like I was mad. Now, this is probably 15 years ago now. And coffee this morning. And she one day came to my office. She goes, "Why do you always look so mad? I need you to stop walking in here so mad all the time." And I'm like, "I'm not mad at all, Mom. What are you talking about?" I go, "Have I ever yelled at anybody or said anything negative to anybody walking?" She said, "No, but you always look like you're pissed off." And it's more cool having your mom work with you. She works for me, but I always say she works with me. And there are times when it sucked, but this is one of the ones that I liked. And so I had another friend of mine that used to be a boss of mine, and he used to walk in the same way. And I remember when she said that to me, I remember how when this guy would walk in, I'm like, "Oh yeah, I remember how I felt when he did that." And so I make it a point, and I still do this to this day, by the way, when I go to work. When I take my key, right before I'm about to turn the car off, I actually physically smile and I hold it. I literally do it. And I make sure that I walk in and I'm smiling at everybody all the time, every time. And I walk, and I make it a point to walk all the way around our 12,000 or 10,000, or however big it is, property, and 10,000 square foot property, and say hello to everybody with a smile. I do it. I still do it to this day. And so think about that. But that's positive mental attitude. PMA. PMA is something you should say in your mind a lot. I mean, even if you're a happy person, say it anyway. And it's the verbalization of your positivity. PMA, everybody, positive mental attitude. And I remember back 21 thinking about it, and I didn't think it was stupid back then. I bought into it, but as you grow and you start building the business like I did, master services, it just, it got away from me a little bit. And now here I am back to what's going on in my business. So update, I actually got asked if June was a fluke by a friend of mine. Actually, it wasn't even that. It was I think it was Bob, my writer for my book that we're writing. He goes, well, do you think June was a fluke? I said, well, it's not, because it was yesterday. We're 2 days into a holiday week, and Tuesday and Wednesday, we've done the same model, and our model is simple: $20,000 sales a day and 20 appointments a day, Monday through Thursday, and then 5 to 10 appointments between Friday and Saturday. That's kind of the model going on. So we want 90 appointments a week being scheduled, and we want $80,000 to $100,000 in sales. So the goal is 20,000 a day, and then 20 appointments a day. And the last 2 days we hit it. We got 42,000 up for the week, and we've done right at 40 right at 40 appointments. So I mean, it's 2020. We're on the path of 2020. 20 appointments, 20,000 sales. And you don't do 20, you do a little more than 20. And so so that's how we've hit 100 or 90 every week since I got the PMA and we started the masonry, started doing a little bit more masonry outside of chimneys. And so it's been really nice. And my anxieties are gone. I mean, completely. I have no anxieties. And the one thing, we built a pool 3 years ago, and I haven't until this year, until this last month, enjoyed the pool as much as I would like. And I'll tell you why. It's because I'd sit there and float. What do you do when you're floating in a pool? Sometimes alone. All you do is think, right? And so the pool at times for me was relaxing, but then would also bring out anxieties. And so, I don't know. I mean, I'm rambling today a little bit about PMA and a little bit, and I didn't really have an agenda. I didn't even plan on recording this week, but I wanted to get out there because I know there's some people out there that have anxieties and how to fix it. And I'm not actually, I only have anxieties when things are going bad. And my anxiety comes from, even though I'm a systems guy, and then I'm probably retelling this story, but it's on my mind this morning. When 25 years of trying to fix and add different add-ons that just never worked for us at Master Services. And so we've never had, for the most part, March, April, May, June, and July, good months. I mean, we've always struggled to break even those months. And if I were a smaller company, yes, we could do it. And I know a lot of people out there have said, being a smaller company, this, that, and the other, but we're also a southern chimney sweep, and that is not a northeastern or eastern or northern, above the Mason-Dixie line sweep. We don't have and I don't call it a luxury, because we can work 52 weeks a year. I mean, we might get shut down like we had the ice storm 2 years ago, year and a half ago, for about a week and a half. But that's about it. If we get shut down for ice or something, it's 2-3 days done. We're back to work. It generally you can even, do masonry almost all year. And so we don't have the schedule out, stop the business and for 2 months and have all this work lined up come March, all that. So we don't have that. We get to do it all right now. And so, I mean, think about it. We're selling $200,000 to $300,000 a week in the fall. And then we have a production out. We do book out, 3 to 6 weeks in the fall. We do, but we catch back up that by February, and it slows down enough that it does it. And I'm hoping with our new, and this is something for everybody to listen to, with our new way of doing landing pages and spending more money on AdWords and tracking it and knowing where my jobs are coming from, I have some PMA on that, positive mental attitude, because I'm seeing that I have stupendously, like grotesquely put my budgets a day up, yet I'm getting the appointments. And since I know my numbers, I've said this before and I'll say it again, I know my numbers. I know that our average ticket is $4,600 to $4,800. I know that my SBO for the company is around, well, it's gone down and it's going back up this month. It had gotten down to 12, 1300 and we were at 1800. And I think and I haven't, we actually don't do it by month. We just keep a running tally of it. So for the year and then reset it every year. We're probably at 14 or 1500 right now, SBO for a company. And my closing ratio right now is around 40%. Well, I haven't looked at it in the last couple of weeks, but it was around 38 to 40%. It was pretty, we're a little, typically for a company around 45, and we may have even been down in April and May down to like 35, which is terrible. June has totally turned around. So, but either way, let's just say let's say it was that bad. It wasn't. It was when I started my ad campaign at 35% closing ratio. But I know if I were to go into AdWords, I have a campaign that actually converts, and I'm going to get appointments, and I can track them because I can see that they're on a metered phone number, that I can see that it comes from AdWords. There's a specialty form on the landing pages that we know it's an AdWord form that they filled it out from AdWords. And when you go and you go spend, I know if I'm going to get, let's just say 5 AdWords a day, right? And we close, let's even go back to the bad number, 35%. So we're going to close roughly 2 AdWords calls a day. If I slap on $1,500 a day to get that, and my average ticket's $4,800, right? Okay, well, times that by 2, let's just round it off to an even number, $9,600 to $10,000. Okay, I spent $1,500 for $10,000 of sales, and so to track this, to be exactly honest to what June was, I did look at this this weekend. So June with my AdWords, I spent $25,000 and we sold $100,000 off of AdWords alone. That was what it was. So what is that? 3 to 1 or 4 to 1? I'll take that all day long. To 4x my money. Yeah. If I could take all my advertising and 4x it, shit, why would you put a limit on it? I mean, I've got it to the point now where AdWords can't give me enough clicks. I'll slap $1,000 to $1,500 a day per campaign on there. I can't even get the clicks in Texas. So what's that tell you? I mean, I'm maxed out to what is my market is allowed to give me of people calling me at right now from the AdWords standpoint. And so, but I got positive. So what did I do? I went earlier in June, the beginning of June, is I went and told my guys before I even knew this was going to work. The day I launched it, that evening, I told my educators, which are sales guys for everyone who didn't know, that what I had done that day and that weekend, and that I was about to not gamble. I was about to put enough money out there to get them the appointments, and it's on them to do it. Now, there's one more thing, and I know this is the funny thing about what I'm about to tell you. In the industry, you hear all these people talk about no discounts and all this stuff, and you got to do it to survive. And for 25 years, we did a lot of discount emails to survive, and it was just the wrong way to do business. And so what did we do, and why did we suck so bad in April and May? We were just changing our pricing and acting like car salesmen just to get and we're all scared. That was us. That was Master Services in April and May. It was. Stop the discounts June 1. Stopped when we did roll our prices back for our bundling waterproofing, our big jobs, to 21 prices, which were still good and high. They were still all right. Rolled them back to that and told my guys to walk with a big stick, and that's it. If you got to give, we will always give someone a discount just to help them out, like $100, something like that. Some people just need that off. So that I still believe in that thing. I mean, and some guys just, some people, you just got to give them the $100, and they're real happy with that. I mean, and so anyway, yeah, so the business is completely, this is crazy. It didn't take a week. It didn't take a month. It literally took one day of my attitude, PMA, with a little back work on it, and added and pivoted a little bit to doing a little bit more masonry outside of chimneys, mailbox. We sold a mailbox last week for $4,200. I can tell you right now that didn't cost us $500, but we sold it for $4,200. Now, when we sell mailbox, I don't know if everyone knows, this is Texas, man. Everybody here essentially in the old neighborhood. So everyone who's got a house that's over 20 years old has a brick enclosed mailbox ground up. And I remember back when I first looked at doing a lot more masonry, let's just say 15, 20 years ago, mailboxes back then were going for $500 to $700. And so now I know the pricing was way different back then, but to me, even back then, I didn't want to spend a day and a half on going to build someone's mailbox. And that was one of my mindset things that I didn't really know about. And so I never really went through the masonry path because I didn't totally believe it. So fast forward to 2021 last year, and I see what these other chimney guys are doing with masonry. And by the way, I don't know if a lot of the other guys are doing a lot of stuff outside of the chimney realm. Well, hey, it's Texas, man. A lot of people don't give a shit about their chimney right now. It's got to be leaking, and it ain't rained here in forever. So what do you do when it's not raining and you're in the chimney business? I mean, we just found outside doing masonry. We fixed the side of a house 2 weeks ago for like $8,000. I think it was $8,000. I don't remember exactly. So I don't want to be a liar, but it was a lot. And it literally, they had the bricks and we just had to show up with the mortar and our guys. We did it in like 2 days, 2.5 days, I think, actually. And so, yeah, I mean, so that was it. That was for us. So masonry was our answer. I just added brick fix it to our repertoire, and we do free estimates for it. I'm not charging to go out to give anybody an estimate. However, we put a $1,000 minimum on doing any brick fix it, and that $1,000 minimum is for a half a day for the sales guys. That's where they have to go. And if it's a full day job, it's got to be if it's a full day job, it's got to be at least, I think, $3,000. And so that's our pricing and how we price it out, whatever. So I'm just telling you how we charge. I'm so sorry if I'm sharing my pricing. Big deal. But anyway, that's how we do it. Master Services. That's how we quote. So I don't care how you quote. And if you want to follow my lead, by God, be you and do your own pricing. But anyway, but yeah, so here we are going into July. It's July 7th, 2022. And literally, this is crazy. This is really crazy. The last week of May, I had called my mom and told her that we might be laying off and she needs to be prepared because she needs to be prepared to be laying someone off. And maybe even her hours cut. And so she's already retired and she doesn't need the money. So anyway, so it was a hard conversation. And, she's like, I get it, Chad. I get it, blah, blah, blah. And then there was that weekend that, literally, I think I talked to her on Friday, and then it was on Monday, I had the epiphany, and boom, I went through it, or Sunday, and fixed it all. And it literally turned around in one day. Positive mental attitude just zapped us into action, and we did it all, and we kept it going. And here we are, July 7th, 2022, booked out with our masons 6-7 weeks, and still trying to hire more masons, but we're breaking even or making a little bit of money. And I have never done that in June and July. I haven't seen the P&L yet because it hasn't been done yet for July or June, but I'm going to tell you, I bet you we broke even or made money. Probably broke even because we didn't have the first week production. We probably lost $15,000-$20,000, and then every other week we probably made $1,000 to $2,000 a day or a week. And so not much, but we're just starting. I mean, I clearly see as we get more masons that we'll be doing production wise, $125,000 to $150,000 a week all year round. And so, yeah. And so, let's get this PMA staffing. I mean, here's the funny thing about when you come to staffing and you're going to be positive mental attitude. This drives me crazy. When someone looks at your ad, why would they come work for you? You need to tell yourself when you write an ad, why would someone come work for me? It ain't because you pay $1,800, $100 an hour. It ain't because you have health benefits. It ain't because this and it ain't because of that. It's only of what you're offering them a future for. And believe it or not, this is crazy for you to maybe hear, is you actually are asking and telling people in your ad initially, you're looking for people that are accountable. You're looking for people that you don't have to babysit. It's in my ads. I'm not looking to babysit anybody. I'm not looking to hold anyone. I'm not looking to babysit their accountability either at all, ever. And it's in the ads. And if you're not, and it says, my ad actually says, if you are not accountable and I have to micromanage you, please do not apply. That's big. I just right up front. And so Master Services, I mean, we are not a perfect company. I mean, by far, I put that out there right now. We have employee issues, but not like what I see with other people, especially when I take over coaching a company. We're not anywhere. We are one of the best culture people. We are nowhere near perfect. But the people who are there that love being there. I absolutely adore my company and where we're going. And I love the fact that I can see and predict. I used to think that there's no way a company could in Dallas could be over $2 million. Well, in Dallas alone, we're going to probably do 3.5 million this year. Houston's going to do around $1 million. And Oklahoma City this year, I don't know, 400,000 or 500,000, maybe 600,000-700,000. And so that's my sales, 5 million. I think that added up to roughly there, right? That's what we'll do this year. Next year, you ready for a whopper? I'm putting it out there on a podcast to hold myself accountable here. I'm looking at $7 to $8 million next year, only because we've added masonry and only because our PMA, positive mental attitude. Yeah, coming after you, Chuck Hall sales. I put it out there, Chuck. And so anyway, yeah, I mean, it starts top down, positive mental attitude. Everything comes to positive mental attitude. I'll tell you, because if you don't start the day off with a smile, if you don't roll in with a smile, your day's probably going to suck because you don't have the right attitude. What does that do? That trickles down to everybody else and blah, blah, blah. You'll trickle over the clients. It does. Positive mental attitude. And it's something that you should daily say and wake. So anyway, part of that book I read, the power of positive thinking. One of the things it says when you wake up, and I do this, and I actually didn't do it today, and I'm going to do it right now. You say to yourself 3 times, I believe, I believe, I believe. And then you're supposed to say something else. I don't have the mental capacity to remember everything that you'd say, but I do believe in me. I do believe in my company. I do believe in society. And I truly do. And I believe, and it gets me on the right foot. And I'm going to continue that, I hope, for the rest of my life. And I hope this podcast, this little snippet of today, a positive mental attitude, is everything. And I will finish it off with this. Don't watch the fucking news. Because the only thing that matters is what's at the gas pump right now. Nothing else matters. And you can bitch about it all you want, but guess what? It doesn't change your day. So I know I used to fill up my gas in my truck for $65, and now I'm up to 125, maybe 130. Okay. But guess what? Doesn't matter, because that's something I can't change. But you know what I can change is I can change my attitude, and I can change my company's attitude, and I can help my customers more, and I can be positive about it no matter what. And I don't fear and anxiety anything anymore. I just do not. I don't have time for it because I want to be the best person I can be to anyone who's listening. So I hope that helped you today. Hey, have a great day.